Good morning, everybody. My name is Terry Sweeney, and we are in front of New Ulm's oldest institution, Turner Hall. Turner's began in 1856 and have been here ever since on this very site. So we're going to learn a lot about things today. Let's get started. Come on with. All right, we're here in the founder's room under the bust of Friedrich Jahn. Mr. Jahn was the founder of the Turner movement in the early 1800s. Also with us is Andrea Betker. She is the executive director of Turner Hall, and Andrea is going to tell us about the beginning of Turner Hall in New Ulm.
So New Ulm Turner Hall was actually built in the 1860s and was burnt during the Dakota conflict, and this building was rebuilt here in the 1870s, and we've been here ever since. We've survived a couple of fires, we've survived a couple of other fun things, but we're still here today, and the Founders Room is one of my favorite rooms because it's really telling the story of the history of the Turners. Our walls are adorned with photos of the founders of the Turners, founders of the New Ulm Turnverein, pictures of our Turner ladies, and all things that are just completely still relevant to the betterment of our organization today.
The first group was a group from Chicago. It came in 1854, and then the Turners came under the leadership of Wilhelm Fender in 1856. And so we've been here a long time, always on this spot. Different buildings have happened, but we've always been on this spot. So let's go into the former gymnastic space, and we'll talk about the operation of modern Turner Hall. So we're here in the old gymnasium, and we're going to talk about the operation of Turner Hall. And one of the keys to making Turner Hall work, in fact, perhaps the single key, is the existence of the Turner ladies. And with us, we've got Jeannie Kretsch and Carol Steinhaus. Ladies, can you tell us how the Turner ladies work?
We were founded in 1859, I believe it was, and from there it's grown. There were only 3 or 4 ladies when it first started, and we have now got 81 members, and of course always looking for more younger people to replace the older ones that can no longer do the work that's needed to be done. I'm one of those ladies, and I find I can stand in line and serve, but I can't do the cleanup and the carrying. So I can still give my share. And I think people think that once they have one thing wrong, they can't do any more, and they're hesitant in joining. And I wish they wouldn't think that way, because there's always a way you can keep going.
You can peel potatoes.
You can peel potatoes. You can put food on a plate. We have even got chairs that you can sit and dish up if you have to.
So Jeannie, can you tell us about the specific operations? Let's say we had a wedding at Turner Hall. What would the Turner ladies be involved in?
The Turner ladies would be involved in, first of all, getting the Turner ladies here. And we need servers, we need dish-up people, we need people setting the tables, getting all of the decorations in order if they so want from us. Many times, many of the, say the bridal companies, they get decorators to come in, but sometimes they're on a budget, so they have us do it. Other than that, we are involved in many other activities, earning money for Turner Hall, because all of our mission, the purpose of the Turner ladies is to promote the interest of the Turnverein and to help keep the organization solvent. All members should be willing to work for the betterment of Turner Hall in any capacity. As Carol was saying, any capacity, so whatever they can do is very helpful. We do bake sales. We have the ice cream social at the 4th of July. We have our sauerkraut supper. We try to always earn money so that we can help in any way. The Turner ladies, just since I have been a Turner lady
Just, 39 years ago.
39 years ago. We have earned over $300,000 that we have promoted to the better interests of Turner Hall in any way. The chairs, I mean, many of the things aren't even involved. We bought new tables, new chairs.
How many ladies do you think you have now?
81. When I was first started, we had 200 members.
Oh.
And the ladies were getting nervous because we have monthly meetings and we have a meal and we have to serve those ladies then. So they were getting nervous, so they closed membership, which was the worst thing we ever did, because now we're begging for members. So anyone that is interested in any way, and it isn't something that you have to commit to monthly or weekly. It's something that when you can help, that is greatly appreciated.
Super. One of my sons had his wedding here, and I can appreciate what the Turner ladies did for that. That's for sure. We do other things like the rib feast. Do you have a role in that?
Definitely. We help Turner Hall in any way we can. So when they're doing rib feast, we're helping getting all of the food ready and serving it and putting it in bags and getting it ready for them.
I know Andrea Betker has called you the spine of the Turner organization, and I've just gotten off of the board after 6 years, and we've talked about the Turner ladies many times, and we've wondered aloud what would happen if they ever ceased to exist. And we quit the conversation because it's too devastating to think about. So I'll repeat what Carol said. Anybody, look, and we've got a kind of a small group called the Turner Laddies, which is guys to help. It is primarily women, but if you're watching this and you've got a hankering to help out, we'll sure take you. Well, here we are at the former gymnasium. I call it that because we no longer use it as gymnastic space. We've got the wonderful Turner Gymnastics Academy down at the Vogel Fieldhouse, which we operate, though. And so here we are in what I would call the event room, and we'll let Andrea tell us some of the things that happen in here.
So for many, many years, if you can kind of look in the little background here, you can see this was used as a basketball court, but it's most best known for its use for our Turner Gymnastics program. So for many, many years, we had parents and volunteers and tireless workers that would bring in all of the equipment when we'd have an event and put it all back out when we were having classes. And this went on for many, many, many years. And as the love of gymnastics in our community continued to grow, we found it natural to want to kind of take a look at the other gymnastics program. And we actually officially merged with them just a couple of years ago. And now we operate the gymnastics program down at the rec center. So what this does is it gives us an opportunity to use our event space for everything that it should be used for weddings, for celebrations of life, for fundraisers. We have been using this space so frequently to have fundraising events, not just for our organization, but for other local nonprofit organizations as well. And we're just so thankful that we have the ability to use this beautiful space for whatever it needs to be used for, and that our students have a permanent home for gymnastics down at the rec center.
So people that belong to a group and are looking for a space big enough, I don't know, what does this hold, 300 people or so?
This room holds about 400.
Wow.
The upstairs secondary room, the founder's room, holds about 90. And then we do have some other spaces that we'll probably be exploring downstairs that we use for hosting a lot of other nonprofit groups, weekly, monthly, semi-annually as well. We are home to over 25 nonprofits that use our event space for free, in most cases for meetings and things, so that they have an opportunity and have a place to meet and further their own missions.
How many employees do we have? I don't know that at all. I was on the board, and I should, but I don't.
Well, on the payroll, we have about 40 employees right now. That's down from about a total of 80 prior to COVID. Now, not all of those people worked every day. Some were kind of sporadic. Some were summer help, some were winter help. But we are around 40 for the rathskeller in the events. And then we have about 15 that run the gymnastics program. So a total of about 50 to 60 employees.
We've talked about gymnastics. We should point out that the Turner's motto is a sound mind in a sound body. And although it kind of fell out of favor, we're reviving the sound mind part of it. We would have entertainment here of all sorts. National speakers would come in here and put on productions. We had opera stars, Mrs. Methua, for example, and it was a big deal. But then it kind of got away from that. But under your leadership, I'll give you credit, we've revived a thing called Turner Talks. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yes. So Turner Talks, you're exactly right. It comes from our Sound Mind, Sound Body mission and principles. And we have the sound body part with the gymnastics program, with the park outside. But I really wanted to get back to our roots of, what it means to be a Turner and having intellectual conversations. And especially in the times we're in with so many disagreements and things, we try to find topics that are new and exciting. Like we recently held one on hypnotherapy. We've had agriculture. We've had manufacturing in here, so that we can kind of take a look inside some of the stuff that's happening in New Ulm, and just having those conversations and just learning and understanding. And so those Turner Talks will continue. You can look for more on that soon.
Let's talk about one of the major changes, which is the fact that we were, for most of our life, a private club. But that has changed, hasn't it?
Yes. Back in 2008, the decision was made to open Turner Hall to the public. So prior to then, only members with a key card or tourists could come into Turner Hall to see the murals and to eat with us. But now we are open to the public. We encourage everyone to come down, take a look at our spaces, eat in the restaurant, have a beer in the oldest bar in Minnesota. So just so many facets to Turner Hall, if you haven't been here, that we hope that you come and take a little bit of time to check out.
All right, so here we are in the rathskeller. People always try and guess what that means, rat and keller for basement. No, in German, the word for city hall is the Rat, R-A-T, and keller is cellar or basement. And so in the basement of many city halls in Germany was a place for meeting and discussion, food and drink. And that's really what we try to emulate here. So this has been here a long time. I imagine when this was first put up, the immigrants were only 15 years in New Ulm, and I bet many of them grew up. I bet there was a lot of crying in this room. People looking, oh, Hans, do you remember? Here's the Rhine River. Didn't you grow up there? Yes, it was wonderful. I bet these murals, when they were installed, brought out a lot of emotion. So, Andrea, can you tell us more about the Rathskeller?
Yes. So the Rathskeller truly is the oldest bar in Minnesota. We know that because we know as a private club we were operating during Prohibition, and we've been here since the 1870s. Turner Hall, the New Ulm Turnverein, was actually incorporated in August of 1869. So we are one of the oldest companies probably in the state of Minnesota as well. But our Rathskeller is pretty special. It's adorned with murals, hand-painted murals of castles in Germany and Bavaria, and it just really looks like home. For a long time, the murals were covered. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Well, yeah, as a young man, my parents played cribbage down here a lot and would come down and eat and drink. They were club members, which you had your card, and then the crazy door got open for you. But I remember this being painted green or having plywood around it. And so in about 1999, a man named Carol Elijah. Carol didn't grow up in New Ulm, but he married a lady from Lafayette, and they moved from Chicago, where he worked, back to New Ulm. And I interviewed Carol down at the chamber where I worked, and he said, yeah, I was sitting here having a beer with the boys, and they said under all this green paint and this plywood, there were murals, but we had never seen it for perhaps 3 generations. And so Carol said, with your permission, I will try and reveal them. So we got up in one of the corners with solvent and rags, and he said, oh yeah, there's murals under here. And again, the Turner group said, yeah, we knew they were, but we don't have the money to restore it. He said, again, with your permission, I'll try and do it for you. He said, my son and I have restored many old homes. And so he spent 2 years of his life bringing back the murals. He didn't do it with solvent and rags. He did it primarily with duct tape. And people think, duct tape? Didn't he fear pulling the murals off the wall? Well, the murals were painted in what's called fresco style, that is fresh plaster. And so they were the plaster. They weren't a layer on top of the plaster. And so a quarter million feet of duct tape, and 2 years of his life he revealed these. Sadly, Carol's no longer with us, but about 7 years or so after he did his work, we hired professional conservators to come and then fill in nail holes and touch up the paint where it needed. And it's a beautiful room a professional historian applying for a grant called this the most Germanic room in the United States. So, Andrea, this series, How New Ulm Works, has got part of it as an economic impact story. So what kind of economic impact can you think we have here? Like, what does a meal cost and that type of thing?
Yeah, so Turner Hall has the rathskeller at Turner Hall has a full menu of average priced meals consisting of wraps, sandwiches, burgers, entrees. Our ribs are our most popular item. But what we do notice this time of year as far as economic impact is probably 60 to 70% of the people coming in for lunch are from out of town.
Wow.
And a good 30 to 40%, maybe a little bit higher, even on the weekends, is coming in from out of town. And so we really are a tourist destination. And we are just getting through our 4th of July event, which is one of our biggest fundraisers of the year that draws families from all across the state that come in to listen to the music, have the food, partake in the day, and then spend time in New Ulm.
Yeah, with the trees and the whole park. It's a strange organization. We're not a part of the city government at all. So we're a private club, and we own an entire block, which is pretty crazy. You've shown us in the board what the taxes are to own an entire block. So pretty remarkable. We don't need to go totally into our finances, but the Turners put a lot of money into New Ulm, and we bring in a lot of money. So I know when I worked at the chamber, we did a lot of group tours. That market has changed and declined, but I know we still do some because I've got a tour. In fact, we're coming up to Turner Hall next week. What other sort of group business do we have?
Yes, we're very fortunate to do a lot of tours. We actually have one tomorrow. The German Club of Mankato is coming in for a luncheon tomorrow afternoon. And then next week we have the German American Heritage Society from St. Paul bringing a group of people. So the tours are back, but you're right. They are just a little bit smaller than they were pre-COVID, but still just as relevant as they are today. And we're always so thankful to host tour groups and have our volunteers just give great information and tours of Turner Hall, because that's really what they're looking for. We really are that stop for groups coming into town looking for something to eat and looking for some history.
Local people, local groups, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, all of the 100 people that work at Citizens Bank, they could come and do things down here. They could have a tour. I bet lots of them don't know much history of Turner Hall.
Yes, you're right. So every year we do host tours for the Network New Ulm Group, the Network New Ulm Youth Group. Again, we're home to over 25 service organizations, everyone from the Lions Club to we host a monthly event for adaptive recreative services. We have the Turner Ladies, just so many groups that meet here, our Toastmasters group on a regular basis that really, rely on that space and talk about us and bring people here as well.
So remember Turner Hall for any of your groups, for those of you from New Ulm watching this. All right, here we are in our kitchen. This has recently been enlarged and updated, but how many people can we serve out of here? When you look in here during a wedding or a big event, this place is hopping.
Yes. Yes, we had our kitchen fully remodeled, gutted, and redone. It was completed from January to April of 2018, so it's been about 5 years now, but it allowed us to kind of keep up with what the demand is for our events. So sometimes we have a wedding upstairs and a dinner downstairs, and a group's having a birthday party in the Dutch room, and then we have the restaurant going on. So at any given time, we can serve up to 500 people at a time. It's a lot of work, but we needed the equipment, we needed these updates, and here we are. Now, when we do Rib Feast, we sell about 1,000 orders of ribs, but that takes us kind of a whole week to prep and get everything ready and done for that.
Well, we've got some good help. I know there's like any restaurant, there's turnover, but we've got some key people that really make this happen. They know the recipes by heart and all of that sort of thing. Can you wish to highlight anybody?
Well, definitely Sierra, Sheila, and Braxton. Those are our kitchen staff. Sierra's our kitchen manager, or Sheila's our kitchen manager, does an excellent job. Sierra's her right hand. Braxton helps us out during the week. And these are all people that are just love working at Turner Hall, love the environment, have been here for many, many years. We are still looking for more folks to come work in our kitchen and be a part, so economic impact, there we go. But they really are the heart and soul and the core of what we do. When I come to them and I say, you know what, somebody wants to do this, can we do that? They're like, yep, okay, we can make it happen. So it's a super can do, which really sets us apart from a lot of other event centers that maybe are have their hands chained with some of the things that they're willing to do or can do. If we can do it, we will do it.
Great. You got any facts and statistics for us, Andrea?
Well, yes, to serve that many people, it comes with a lot of work. So we do have 4 convection ovens. We have 2 of the kitchen top stoves plus a flat top. We have 2 of the auto shams, so those are the things that kind of melt the cheese on top of things. We have 2 walk-in freezers and then a walk-in refrigerator. We have 5 sinks. We have 3 deep fryers and a partridge in a pear tree.
Very good. Like I said, I've peeked my head in here, and I've helped serve to some events too, and it's jeepers. It's orchestrated, and you got to give pats on the back where it's due. We've got good people making it happen. All right, here we are in a room we call the Heritage Room, and right behind us is, of course, our beautiful sign with the motto, "A sound mind in a sound body." And so, Andrea, can you tell us what other uses this room is set up for? I know we've got some plaques along here. What's that about?
Yeah. So again, we're home to so many nonprofit organizations that use our facility to have meetings and dinners, fundraisers, and things that they can use to further their missions. Part of that on the plaques behind us is the names of all of the initial founders of New Ulm, which I believe have come to be known as the Junior Pioneers of New Ulm. And so that is housed here. The Junior Pioneers do hold meetings and some of their events and things here, along with the German Bohemian Heritage Society, the local Toastmasters group, the local Lions Club, the Turner Ladies, the Women of Today. You know, the list just goes on. And we're happy to be able to provide that no-cost meeting space. We do use the Heritage Room for these meetings pretty frequently, just because it's a nice space away from the restaurant. It's a little bit quieter, and it just gives people more time to talk, but still close enough that they can order from the restaurant if they want during their meetings. So this room holds up to about 140. We've had the Lions Waffle Breakfast in here many times. We've had dinners for different local groups, tour groups love this space as well. And then our Sunday Sinners group, another auxiliary group that's underneath Turner Hall, which is a group of men that meets occasionally on Sundays in the later part of the winter and early spring to have a rib dinner over the lunch hour on a Sunday. So with their help, we were able to remodel the bar in this room. So we actually have 3 bars in the building, but now always just another great space for you to use at Turner Hall.
Like you can see that the room is set up for some meeting coming up. It's got the podium and the kind of the U-shaped tables around it. But it's a great space. Like you said, Andrea, it's a perfect size for certain groups. If you had 300 people, well, this wouldn't physically fit that. But if you put 50 people upstairs, the space kind of overwhelms the group. This is perfect. 50 people, what have you, 20 people. This is just the perfect space for it. All right, well, we've gone through much of the building, but there's one big thing looming over a lot of people's shoulders, including yours, and that is the upcoming Turnfest. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Coming up at the end of July, the New Ulm Turners have been selected out of about 50 other Turner Halls across the United States to be the host for the 56th National Turner Athletic and Cultural Events. So that's 5 days, 4 days actually, in New Ulm, where we will have Turners from all throughout the United States coming to compete in athletic and cultural events here at the middle school and down at the rec center. We are going to be doing a lot of events at Turner Hall that will be open to the public, so we definitely hope you look at those and come on out as well. But yes, huge festival, first time it's been in New Ulm, huge undertaking, and this man right here is helping us out with the parade and the welcome ceremony, and it's going to be great.
So, like you said, open to the whole public to come on up. We're going to have the parade downtown, not downtown, but on German Street, rather. Then an event, a welcome ceremony in German Park, and then athletic events on Thursday and Friday. Saturday, too, actually, in the morning. And then Saturday evening, we'll have a big banquet and wrap up to the event. But there will be stuff, there will be music going on up here all the time. So public, feel free to come on up. We've never hosted it before. 2 years ago when we decided we were going to do this, And we thought, well, if such and such a town can do it, we can surely do it. And we're realizing why not all towns want to do it. It's a big undertaking. You won't see Andrea for a week after the Turnfest because she'll be sleeping.
Yes. But again, that just goes to some of the great things that New Ulm, our community, has to offer. And we're going to have over 500 Turner folks from across the United States descending upon New Ulm. And I think about the economic impact of that just at Turner Hall and some of our local shops and restaurants that are going to really see a lift that weekend as well. So we are excited to be hosting it. We can't wait. But it'll also be nice when it's Festas.
I agree.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with Turner Hall or may not come here very often, I just really want to stress how much Turner Hall is community. I mean, we're not just home to the oldest bar and the oldest gymnastics program in the state of Minnesota, but it really takes our community to make this place go. The support from the nonprofits that use our space, the support from the businesses that support so many of our fundraising events, the support from the Turner ladies, and all that they do for our organization, the Sunday Sinners groups, and just our membership, our amazing, incredible membership that just steps up every time they're needed. We would love to have you come take a tour of Turner, become a member, support us. It goes to a great cause. We don't have any owners. We're run by a board of directors, but I just can't imagine what our community would be like without Turner Hall.
Well, as we're wrapping up, we're going to bring up a controversy. There's a bar in St. Paul called Newman's that claims to be the oldest bar in the state. We don't know exactly what year they're attributing their claim to, but the Turners were formed they came in 1856, the first organization 57, and the first building I think in 1858. It was burned during the Sioux Uprising, but I can't believe that building and successive buildings did not have a bar in it. It's just consistent with the concept of Turner's gathering for good comradeship, talking about issues of the day. And Andrea, can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So yes, this building has been in this spot since the early 1870s, and we're confident we've been operating as a bar ever since. Again, as a private club, there was definitely, I'm sure, some prohibition stuff going on in Turner Hall. Makes sense. It makes sense. And so, it is our claim, and we stand behind it. Oldest bar in Minnesota.
Well, the mugs, tell us about the mugs up here behind the bar.
Yeah, our mugs are pretty special. So, there used to be, when we opened to the public, 2 levels of membership. We had the social membership, which was just for the club and the restaurant, and then we also had the Verine, and that gets you membership into the American Turner Society, so the National Society. So members that had taken that extra step and were in the National Society had the option to purchase a mug with the year that they joined the National Society, and so we do have about 50 or so mugs up here of members that like to just either have it on display. Sometimes they drink out of them on special occasions. Sometimes they store stuff in them, money, drink cards, reading glasses, whatever it may be. But it's nice because it's your mug. The mug itself has been the perfect marketing membership tool because we have picked up some members over the years who come in for the mugs. So. But yeah, just another pretty special thing that you can't really find anywhere else. You don't really get your own mug most bars you go to.
Right, I agree. I have my mug at home.
Yes, you do.
And I found some old mugs I got off a local collector that are pretty cool. I'll have to give to the collection someday. So that should wrap up our visit to Turner Hall, folks. Just remember this, it's open to the public. We hope to see you down here.